Health and peace and happiness for everyone. Torah Adonai Timima Meshivat Nafesh. The Torah of Hashem is pure, restoring the soul. At the end of last week's parasha, we read about the sin of Bnei Israel with the daughters of Midian and Moab. And we read about the extreme act carried out by Pinchas, who killed the prince of Shevet Shimon and the Midianite that he was sinning with, and stopped the plague that was killing Bnei Israel. At the beginning of this week's parasha, Parashat Pinchas, Hashem says to Moshe that the act that Pinchas carried out, in this case under these circumstances, was justified. Pinchas stopped the rage, the anger of Hashem towards Bnei Israel. Later on in this week's parasha, Moshe asks Hashem to nominate the next leader of Bnei Israel. Given what Hashem said about Pinchas at the beginning of the parasha, it seems that Pinchas is a good candidate. Will he be chosen? No. Yehoshua bin Nun is nominated to be the next leader of Bnei Israel. Why was Pinchas not chosen? Let's see what Moshe says to Hashem. What does Moshe see as what is necessary for the leader of Bnei Israel? Moshe says to Hashem, I'm looking for a leader, asher yotziem v'asher yeviem, a leader who will lead them out and bring them in. Rabbi Ovadia Sforno explains that a leader who will lead them out means to war, and bring them in means to run the affairs of the state, of the kingdom, of the people. A long-term leader of a nation sometimes needs to lead them out to war, but has to be able to lead the people and to take care of the affairs of the state, of the kingdom, at times of peace, in times that are routine times. Pinchas will have a role in the continue of the journey of Bnei Israel. In next week's parasha, Bnei Israel go to war with Midian, and Pinchas goes out with the soldiers to the war. Maybe in the role of Kohen Mashuach Milchama, the Kohen who encourages the spirit and the motivation of the soldiers as they go to battle. It's very interesting to see in Sefer Yehoshua, once again, Pinchas will have a role. The 2.5 tribes that live on the eastern side of the Yarden build a Mizbeach, an altar, and the majority of Bnei Israel who live on the western side of the Yarden are afraid that the tribes on the eastern side are separating themselves from Bnei Israel. They send a mission, they send a delegation to speak with them, and Pinchas is the leader of that delegation. It is very clear there in Perek Kaf Bet in Sefer Yehoshua that there was a danger that they might have to go to war with these 2.5 tribes. But they speak, they talk, they listen to what the 2.5 tribes have to say, and they like what they hear from them. They built this altar only to show that they are one, worshiping Hashem together with the tribes on the western side of the Yarden. So it's Pinchas who is sent in the head of that delegation, maybe to make the decision, if necessary, that we need to go to war with them, and maybe it's Davka Pinchas who can make the decision, no. This time we don't need war, we don't need extreme actions. What we need is to make peace and unity between the different tribes on the two sides of the Yarden. But Pinchas is the leader for special missions, not a long-term permanent leader of Am Yisrael. A permanent leader of a nation has to be one who can lead long-term processes that will strengthen the nation and create positive things in the long-term life of this nation. So Yehoshua bin Nun was chosen and not Pinchas. It's very interesting. In the history of nations, we see this several times. Sometimes there is a leader who can be a terrific leader under certain unusual circumstances, but he is not the right leader for the long run. I think of Winston Churchill, the leader of Great Britain in the terrible war against the Nazis, the leader of toil, blood, sweat, and tears. He was the right leader for the terrible war with the Nazis in World War II. But right after the war, it was absolutely clear that he was not the right person to be a permanent leader of that nation. Fascinating. The Torah is ancient, it is new, it is always relevant. Shabbat Shalom.